What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
What is really happening to the president? The president of who is the chairperson of the Tonse Alliance has been out of public domain. What is the status quo? I'm talking about His Excellency, former President Edgar Lungu.
President Edgar Lungu is out on a private visit to South Africa. And that is a private visit, and it shall remain private. So all that the nation ought to know is that President Edgar Lungu is out of the country. That's what is important for the nation to know.
He is a public figure, and I want to mention that he is a state property, and people would like to know how is he doing. Do you have conversations?
Yes, I do have conversations with him on a very regular basis. Mm-hmm. Yes. He did disclose himself that he went to South Africa for medical review, and he has remained in South Africa.
Right.
But I do have conversations with him on a regular basis.
At some point, we saw some political marriage where there was an issue brought in Parliament that people needed to know how he's doing, his health. And to that effect, we saw the Minister of Health who mentioned categorically that it is the health of the former president should always remain in privacy.
If you remember that the minister said that, then keep it in private. The minister guided, didn't he, that the health of the former head of state is a private matter.
But it was an MP who was interested in that matter.
Yeah, but he was told by the minister that the health of the former president is a private matter. Okay? And I also told you just now that President Edgar Lungu, much as he's a public figure, he's entitled to privacy. And he did indicate to the Zambian people directly through a posting on his Facebook page that he was undergoing medical review in South Africa. He went to South Africa for medical review, and he has remained in South Africa. In that posting, he also clarified something that was being peddled in Parliament by Muchima, that the government was taking care of the medical attention of the former president. President Edgar Lungu himself denied that, and he said he is there as a private citizen at no cost whatsoever to the Republic of Zambia. So please clarify that on behalf of Edgar Lungu. Let not the lies of Muchima go to the people that the government of Zambia is paying for President Edgar Lungu's stay in South Africa. No. The government of Zambia is not taking any cost whatsoever. President Edgar Lungu is in South Africa as a private citizen, and he is footing his own expenses.
Just to bury that issue of President Edgar Lungu, are you able to assure us, myself and the nation, that the former president is well, is in good health?
Look, I'm not a medical doctor. That you know very well. I'm not a medical doctor. How can you ask me whether you yourself are
You've been talking to him. You just mentioned that you always have conversations.
You are asking me to give you an assurance. How can I? How do you expect me, just by the fact that I speak to President Edgar Lungu, that therefore I have the power to assure the citizens, to assure the nation of the health of President Edgar Lungu? I'm sitting with you, across you now. There is no way that I can ascertain your state of health. No. Just because I'm looking at you? No, I can't. For me to give you that certainty, I must be a medical practitioner, and I cannot only look at you and make a conclusion. I have to examine you and give you the right bill of health after I've examined you. But I don't have that competence, sir. So there's no way I can answer that question. The only thing I can say to the nation through this radio program is that I have been in contact with President Edgar Lungu, and yes, he is well, but I cannot give you that assurance. All I can say is that I've been speaking with him, and as far as I'm concerned, from the conversation, yes. But for you to take me to the task of starting to make assurances, that's a different ballgame. I cannot even assure you of my own bill of health. I can't. Because I might be standing here and feeling I'm well, the next minute I collapse.
Let's move on. What is the status quo of the Tonse Alliance?
The Tonse Alliance is a growing phenomenon. Thanks to the people who came up with the idea of forming the Tonse Alliance. It is gaining traction on the ground. It's growing rapidly on a daily basis. Not too long ago, we announced the joining of a youth organization. We also heard, I'm sure that this radio station also carried a story from KBF, who also announced that his committee, his leadership committee, had decided that they're going to join the Tonse Alliance. It's just a matter of time. We'll be welcoming them to the Tonse Alliance. The Tonse Alliance is growing and growing rapidly, and we're very, very happy with the support that we're receiving from the general public.
We saw that you fielded a candidate there under the Tonse Alliance in Petauke. How did you take that victory?
We fielded candidates in Pambashe. We used the FDD. We fielded a candidate in Petauke. We used the NCP. And both candidates were Tonse candidates. And both candidates were supported by the anchor party of the Tonse Alliance, the Patriotic Front. When you ask me about Petauke specifically, I want to say to you that there is nothing to celebrate about Petauke. Nothing whatsoever. Because Petauke, the results were not a true reflection of the mood and the voting of the people of Petauke. Just like the results in Pambashe were not a true reflection of the mood and the voting of the people of Pambashe, nor were the results of Kawambwa a true reflection of the mood and the voting of the people of Kawambwa. The only difference is that in Petauke, our people in Petauke turned out in large numbers to go and defend the vote. There were more people in Petauke than there were in Pambashe, than there were in Kawambwa to defend the vote. That is the only reason why you saw the results come out the way they did. Without the rigging machinery superintended over by Mwangala Zalomis and MacDonald Chipenzi, the gap in Petauke would have been wider than it was. And even in Pambashe and Kawambwa, the vote would have gone where it belongs, to the Tonse Alliance. So there's nothing to celebrate.
Well, are you making allegations that...
I'm not making allegations.
Mr. MacDonald Chipenzi and Madam Mwangala Zalomis are engineers of
yes.
rigging?
You saw how long it took the ECZ in Petauke to announce the results. They had finished counting before midnight. They refused to announce the results until midday. And yet in Pambashe and in Kawambwa, they were in a hurry to announce. What was the reason? Tell me, ever since when have you ever heard...
We were told that they needed to finish counting in one of the polling some far-reached place where they had to airlift the...
Yes, they had to airlift the votes, but the results had already been received. If we, opposition political parties, had already received the results from those far-flung polling stations, what about the ECZ? They had the results. We know that they had the results. Now, I was about to ask you, ever since when have you heard that the ECZ goes in an area where there is a by-election and thus they start conducting workshops and meetings with the stakeholders just before a by-election? And those meetings and conferences and workshops are actually paid. People are paid to attend meetings of the ECZ, and the one who's lecturing them is the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Ever since when have you heard that happening in the history of Zambia's electoral processes? Never. What is it that they are doing, going out there and calling youths, calling women, calling headmen, and having meetings with them. Ever since when have you heard of the ECZ performing that function? This is a function that has always been performed by political parties themselves and some civil society organizations, not the ECZ. This is a new phenomena that we're seeing. What is it that they are doing? Tell me.
Why is it that all the time the opposition have issues with the Electoral Commission of Zambia? You were a part of government, and the opposition, now the ruling party, the UPND, they were not happy with the conduct of the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
They may not have been happy with the conduct of the ECZ. For us, we're unhappy with the management of the ECZ. We're unhappy with the composition of the ECZ. When we were in government, we put people in the ECZ who were neutral people, not cadres. For now, we have non-cadres, political cadres running that institution, which by all international standards is supposed to be independent. In this particular case, the people who are running the ECZ cannot be considered neutral. They are partisan, they are cadres, card-carrying members of the ruling party. In the last election, Mwangala Zalomis was member of the Central Committee. You know that. You know that McDonald Chipenzi applied to stand in Chikankata as Member of Parliament on the UPND ticket. You know that even when the election results for 2021 were announced, McDonald Chipenzi was celebrating. Mwangala Zalomis was celebrating, wearing UPND regalia. And today, they're the ones who are supposed to be superintending over an important institution of governance, an institution that should give hope and confidence to the Zambian people that their will on who should govern them shall be forthcoming because there is a team that is neutral that's handling their votes. But under this arrangement, can you give me any reason why I would believe the results coming out of the hands of Mwangala Zalomis? Why would I believe them? Because I know that Mwangala Zalomis is there for a particular agenda, and her agenda is to ensure that her political party continues to be entrenching itself on the governance of the people.
Some people have argued to say, rigging cannot happen here in Zambia because you political parties, you have polling agents who are all over and they're able to see the results there and send to your totaling center, which you can even talk about parallel voter tabulation. So if you talk about rigging, how possible is it if you political parties, you can have polling agents in every polling station?
Mr. Chitungulu, I would like you as a reporter.
No, I'm bringing this thought.
Thanks for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on tech, politics, and everything in between. Until next time, stay cool.